Hello, Wisdom Matrix fam. Welcome back to the channel. Now, I gotta ask you something. Ever wonder why America loves locking people up? And I mean, for a long time, like, we're talking decades for petty offenses. It's messed up, right? Why do some folks get decades behind bars for small crimes? Spoiler, it's not about justice, it's about profit. Let's break it down. Alright, picture this. You're a sheriff in a small town. Your budget depends on how many inmates you got in your jail. More prisoners? Boom! More money for you, more deputies, fancier equipment. Suddenly that traffic stop for a busted taillight starts looking like a chance to hit the jackpot. It's a vicious cycle, y'all. In 2023 alone, the US dropped a cool $80 billion on corrections. That's more than most countries spend on their entire military. Think about that for a second. We're pouring billions into keeping people caged up, but what about education, healthcare, affordable housing? Nah, those can wait, right? This isn't about safety, fam. It's about the bottom line. And guess who's paying for it? You guessed it, taxpayers like you and me. We're literally funding a system that benefits from locking people up and throwing away the key. It's messed up, and we need to talk about it. Now let's talk about those sweet prison labor deals. You know, where prisoners make pennies an hour doing everything from making furniture to answering your calls. Yeah, that's a whole other level of messed up. Companies love it because, hey, who needs to pay a living wage when you can get away with exploiting captive labor? It's modern-day slavery with an extra side of messed up. And guess who benefits from these dirt-cheap wages? Corporations, politicians, and even the government itself. They get to pad their pockets while prisoners are stuck working for next to nothing. This ain't about rehabilitation or giving people a second chance. It's about squeezing every last drop of profit out of a broken system. And the worst part, it's perfectly legal. Ever noticed how many prisons are popping up in rural America? It's not a coincidence. See, these towns are struggling, with factories closing and jobs drying up faster than a puddle in the desert. Enter the prison industrial complex. These shiny new prisons promise jobs, economic growth, and a much-needed boost to the local tax base. Sounds great on paper, right? But here's the catch. These towns become completely reliant on the prison system. Their entire economy hinges on keeping those cells full. It's like a hostage situation, but instead of people, it's entire communities held captive by the promise of jobs and economic stability. Okay, let's talk about how the feds fuel this whole mess. See, the government doles out cash to states based on, you guessed it, their incarceration rates. The more people they lock up, the more money they get. It's like a twisted reward system that incentivizes mass incarceration. So, states are caught in a bind. Do they invest in education, job training, and community programs that actually prevent crime? Or do they take the easy way out and keep throwing people in jail to keep the federal dollars flowing? It's a no-brainer for some of these politicians. They'd rather build a new prison than a new school. Because hey, who cares about the long-term consequences, right? As long as the money keeps rolling in. Now let's talk about the real puppet masters behind this whole Operation Private Prisons. These companies are in the business of making money, and business is booming. See, they get paid per inmate, that's right. Every person behind bars is a walking, talking dollar sign. And the more people they can pack into those cells, the fatter their wallets get. They're like the shady used car salesman of the justice system, always looking for the next deal, the next way to exploit the system for their own gain. And they've got their fingers in all the pies, lobbying politicians, influencing laws, and making sure the prison population stays nice and high. Let's be real, folks. Politicians love to play the tough on crime card. It's a classic move to rile up the base, stoke fear, and win elections. They promise to crack down on crime, lock up the bad guys, and keep the streets safe. And how do they do that? Longer sentences, mandatory minimums, and three-strikes laws that throw people away for life for minor offenses. It's all about creating the illusion of safety, even if it means sacrificing actual justice. They're playing on your fears, folks. Don't fall for it. So remember those rural towns struggling just to stay afloat? Yeah, well, prison construction companies come in with what seems like a lifeline. A brand spanking new prison that promises jobs and, economic revitalization. They paint this rosy picture of progress and prosperity, but honestly, it's all just a facade. These prisons end up becoming economic anchors, weighing these communities down, trapping them in this cycle of dependence on the prison industrial complex. It's like a devil's bargain, man. one that leaves these towns with barely any other options. And in the end, they become complicit in a system that profits off incarceration, all under the banner of economic survival. Alright, so let's talk about the revolving door of the justice system. You get out of prison, you've got a record, you can't get a job, you can't find housing. I mean, what are you supposed to do? The system is literally designed to set people up for failure, making it way more likely that they'll end up right back behind bars. And guess what? That benefits the prison industrial complex. More prisoners means more profits. It's a vicious cycle, man, and it's real hard to break. What we really need are investments in rehabilitation programs, job training, and support systems that give folks a real shot at turning their lives around. Not this revolving door nonsense. Now let's talk about where all this money comes from to fund this massive prison industrial complex. That's right, folks, your tax dollars at work. Every time you pay your taxes, a chunk of that money goes toward keeping people locked up. It's like, we're funding a system that's actively working against its own people. Instead of investing in education, healthcare, and social programs that actually get to the root of crime, we're just pouring money into this black hole of incarceration. It's wild. Mass incarceration isn't just about prisons, folks. It's about control. And what better way to control a population than through surveillance, right? The prison industrial complex has created this whole market for surveillance tech that ends up being used to monitor and police communities, especially communities of color. From facial recognition software to predictive policing algorithms, these tools are being used to justify over-policing and the mass incarceration of marginalized folks. It's a dangerous feedback loop, and it's chipping away at our civil liberties while keeping the cycle of inequality going strong. Look, the bottom line is this. Longer sentences aren't about fixing crime. They're about filling wallets. From politicians to private prisons, everybody's getting paid. Everybody except you, and the people getting locked up. This ain't about justice, fam. It's about a system that's rigged to benefit the few at the expense of the many. But the thing is, we can fight back. We can demand better. We can push for a system that puts rehabilitation before punishment, that chooses to invest in people instead of locking them away. If this blew your mind, hit that like button. It really helps get the truth out there. Drop a comment. What's the wildest thing you've heard about prisons? And if you're ready for more raw facts, subscribe and smack that bell. Let's keep digging.